So behind me is my all iPad Pro desk setup for 2023, and one of the main things that does allow this to happen is a new update to 16.2. After taking it away with 16.0 and 16.1, Apple finally brought back extended monitor support to some iPad Pros and iPad Airs, depending on which model you have, which we'll talk about in a second. And it allows you to use full extended monitor support from the iPad over to any size screen or any size monitor. So before we do start, the iPads that are allowed to be able to do this or that are capable of doing this are any M-powered iPads. So think M1 iPad Air, M1 iPad Pro, and M2 iPad Pro in both the 11-inch and the 12.9-inch variant. And a lot of people get Extended Monitor and Stage Manager confused. They are different features. Stage Manager gives you the floating windows, which did come all the way down to the 2018 iPad Pro. So you have an A12X or an A12Z, it still works. But for extended monitor support, you need the M series chip in one of those iPads and iPad Pros. So without further ado, I want to walk you guys through my entire iPad Pro desk setup, show you guys how it works, and all the accessories, and obviously the desk that goes along with it. So let's get right into it. So let's get started with the desk itself. So if you guys have been with the channel, you know that we've been using the autonomous desk for the better part of 3, maybe even 4 years now at this point, and this desk is absolutely amazing. It is a sit-stand motorized desk. It gives you 4 different memory options. It goes as low as 29.5 inches and as high as I believe 52 inches. So for the most part, it covers that range in height. Unless you're maybe like 7 feet tall, then maybe you may need to get a different desk. But outside of that, it'll fit most people from both a sitting and a standing form. And with those 4 memory slots, you can save a sit-stand setting for up to 2 different people if you would like to. And then also you can manually change it with the arrows on the actual controller on the right-hand side of the desk. And I got it in this white oak countertop colorway, which I absolutely love. And like I said, it's been with me for about 3 or 4 years. It's extremely quality, extremely sturdy. It's gone with me through 4 different moves now at this point, even with movers that like to throw things around and be rough with things. So overall, this is a desk that I highly recommend, especially if you want something that's going to last you a long time. And now the chair itself is something that's relatively new. I needed a chair that wasn't just a cheap IKEA chair that was $100. This is by a company called Hone, and I absolutely love this chair because it gives you every single form and function that you would need. It has a breathable back, it has the mesh finish, it's all black in its colorway. It does come in a nice white colorway as well. You can adjust the actual armrest itself, adjust the height of it, adjust how far it goes back, how far it moves forward. So overall, upgrading the chair was a great decision because again, we're sitting at our desk for 8 to 12 hours a day, so if you don't have a comfortable chair, especially as you get older, you start to feel it in your lower back a little bit more. But that is by a company called Hone, H-O-N. I'm going to link everything down in the description below if you do want to check it out. And that is pretty much what I use as my desk and my chair. And now let's talk about what's actually on the desk itself. So we're going to start from this side, and let's start with the iPad Pro. Like I mentioned, in order for the extended monitor support to actually work, you need at least an M series iPad Pro. And I have the M1 iPad Pro, the 12.9-inch model right here in the 128GB variant, so just the baseline one. The baseline one works perfectly fine. But if you do want to go extended monitor for the cheapest price, you can get a baseline M1 iPad Air for $600 and it'll get the job done. And then the iPad Pro is sitting on a brand new MagFloat stand. So MagFloat made a actual stand about a year ago, maybe even 2 years ago at this point, that kind of gave you a very nice Apple aesthetic. It fit the XDR, the Pro Display XDR look. It was made out of aluminum. But one thing that it didn't have was an adjustable height. So with this new MagFloat Pro stand, it actually brings you an adjustable height. So if you turn it around on the rear, it's got a little knob that you can turn to move up and down, and it goes from 12 inches all the way up to 17.5 inches, which I think is perfect because now I can match it up perfectly with the monitor that I have behind me. And it's a very quality stand, made out of all aluminum, all metal. And some of the improvements that they did add was that the bottom of it is now an entire sticky pad, so it will stay on any surface that you leave it on, and whenever you remove the iPad, the stand won't come with it. And then the magnets themselves are very strong. As you can see, I tried to shake it off. It is not moving anywhere. It's got the cutout for the camera. Like I said, it moves up and down now with the height adjustability. And then also they added a nice little MagSafe puck right in there. So the MagSafe magnets, if you do want to put your iPhone on there for some reason, it actually works great for continuity camera. But outside of that, you can just throw it on there as a stand if you need to throw it on there for maybe a Zoom call or maybe use it as for a FaceTime. So that is a nice little feature that wasn't a needed feature, but it's nice to have on there. And as we continue along the desk, you guys can see the monitor that I have behind me. So that is a 27-inch monitor by a company called A-Logic. This is the A-Logic Clarity. It is a 4K monitor, like I said, 27 inches. And I just love this monitor. It does everything that you need it to. The 4K panel is very crisp, very bright as well. The bezels aren't that big. It's very well priced. I'm going to leave it down in the description below. And one of my favorite things about this is not even the monitor itself, because the monitor does everything that you want it to, but the stand is what really sets it apart, and it comes included with the monitor. The stand, it has a perfect swivel, it swivels nicely, it goes up and down, moves side to side, it doesn't creak, you don't hear the metal like hitting against each other. It is just a very well made hinge and stand for this display. So that is my display of choice, the 27-inch A-Logic Clarity that I've been using for a couple months now, and it works great with the iPad, especially with the aspect ratio. But again, with the extended monitor support of the iPad, you can have any type of monitor and the aspect ratio will make sure that it fits correctly on that monitor. I've tried it with up to a 44-inch ultra wide and it still works great. And then underneath the actual monitor, you see that I have a Marshall speaker. I'm gonna find out exactly which model this one is because I absolutely love it. It is a Bluetooth speaker. And one thing that I will tell people with extended monitor support, especially if you're connected via USB-C, which is the way that I'm connected to it, audio of the iPad Pro will default to, let's say, the monitor that it's connected to. So if your monitor does not have a speaker, the only way for you to listen to music or listen to audio is going to be through a Bluetooth speaker. Because again, there's no way as of right now, which is very, very annoying, but there's no way to actually play audio directly from the iPad when you're using an extended monitor or using a secondary display. Why that's the case, I have no idea. Apple likes to make things even harder than they need to be for no reason. But with the Clarity monitor, it does have speakers, but they are a little tinny, right? They're not there to really kind of give you a punch. So what I wanted to do was use this Bluetooth Marshall speaker that fits perfectly underneath the stand. And I absolutely love the aesthetic. I love that it looks kind of like a guitar amp. It has some actual physical buttons and switches on top of it, so it gives you something tangible to play with. So overall, it's a great and very loud speaker that fills up a room easily. And then as we continue on the actual monitor riser that I have, which we'll touch on in a second, you can see that I have a Momax stand. So this stand by Momax, absolutely love it, and it's not because the quality is perfectly built. It's made out of plastic, it's not super heavy, but what I like about it is just the engineering of it. So it is a clamshell closing stand, so whenever I do want to use my MacBook Air in clamshell mode, all I do is I throw it on there, and then with its own weight of the MacBook, it'll close the clamp itself, and then whenever I want to take it off, you just lift the MacBook, it opens up by itself because there's no weight pushing down on it. So I think it's a great design, very, very simple, very self-explanatory. Like I said, it just uses the weight of the laptop itself to actually make sure it's closed and it stays steady. And this works with any laptop. I'm using it with the MacBook Air, but you can use it with the big 16-inch MacBook Pro. You can use it with a Windows laptop, whatever the case may be, because it has a very, very big, wide thickness to be able to fit any laptop whatsoever. And of course you can see there my iPod mini, which is my first ever Apple product, a little homage that I found the other day, so I like to place that on there. And then as you can see, all of that stuff is sitting on a desktop riser. So that riser, that monitor riser, is by a company called Grovemade. They make some great wooden quality products. They are a little bit on the pricier side, but like I said, I've had this wooden riser for 3 years and again, there's no give to it. It's a very wide one, like the A-Logic monitor plus the Marshall speaker, plus the iPad Pro, plus the laptop, all on there, and it can handle all that weight very easily without it bending or kind of divvying in the middle, which a lot of cheaper risers will do because it's made out of like one whole piece of wood, which I absolutely love. And then when you have the desk riser, it gives you a little bit more room to put more stuff on your desk, right? It gives you little cubbies to work with. So on the left-hand side, I have a little drawer, which is also by Grovemade, and just put some knickknacks in there like SSDs, you know, some pens, some pencils, whatever I need, kind of like a quick grab, maybe even a USB-C cable that's on there. But then as you move back towards the right of the desktop riser, I have this, for lack of a better term, this like super smart and quality power strip. It's by a company called PowerCloud, and it works exactly how it sounds, right? You get 3 AC outlets on the top of it, full 3-prong outlets, which is great to have. And then on the front of it, you have 2 USB-C ports and a USB-A port. The first USB-C port will charge up to 65-watt PD charging. Then you have 18-watt PD charging with the second USB-C port, and then finally a USB-A port for any auxiliary charging that you need to do. So this is perfect to charge, let's say, your keyboard, to charge your iPhone whenever you need to. For me, to charge my Bluetooth mouse, because all my peripherals, which we'll get into, are all Bluetooth, and you need to charge them every once in a while. Yes, it's only a couple times a year, but you know, if you just plug it in once every 3 months on that PowerCloud, it's more than enough. And whenever you need to have an AC outlet, let's say I'm testing a new charger or testing a new power strip, I just plug it right on there and I'm good to go. And now on the desk itself, you guys can see that I have a very, very large mat. So this mat is by a company called OrbitKey. And what I love about this mat is that it's very hard to add some extra function to something like a mat, but OrbitKey found a way to do that. And I've been using this mat for about 2 years now. And the first thing that you see is that there's a little rail on the top part of the top portion of the mat itself. And this rail actually serves 2 purposes for me. So first of all, the whole rail is magnetized. So there's magnets along the entire top of this mat. And what that allows you to do is they have a little cable organizer that you can move and shift around. So being able to plug in a USB-C cable to then plug it into my actual Magic Keyboard or plug it into my Bluetooth keyboard, I just run it through that cable organizer at any orientation or any place along that rail that I want, and I'm good to go. So it keeps everything very organized and very easy. But then also my secondary use for it is to put Apple Pencils on there. Apple Pencils have magnets, and normally whenever I'm done using my Apple Pencil, I kind of just like put it down, or I forget to put it on the iPad itself. So I'll just put it on this rail right here, because not only does it have the divot, so it's not going to slide anywhere or roll anywhere, but also it's magnetized. So you know for a fact that it's not going to go anywhere. So I place my Apple Pencils, and sometimes I'm testing secondary and third-party Apple Pencils, so I'll put those there as well. So that's always great to have this little magnetic strip on the top of the actual XL mat, which I love to have. So it's little things like that add a little extra function to something that you wouldn't think would be useful. But then it doesn't stop there with this mat. This mat actually has a second kind of cubby section. So you can see that the bottom of the mat is made out of felt, and then you can actually lift the leather, and there's a whole slot right there for you to put some papers or brochures, maybe little folders, a manila folder, and just kind of hide them away and put them out of sight. I won't lie, whenever I put something on there, I kind of forget about it for a couple months and then realize like, oh wait, I put this here like 3 months ago. But it's good to have it. Let's say you have something important that you want to put in there that you want to just hide away for a little while because it makes the desk look ugly with pieces of paper. You can actually just put it under there and you're good to go. So having that on the mat is a great thing. And also the fact that it's felt on the bottom so it doesn't ruin or leave any damage or leave any kind of footprint on the actual desk itself is great. And then being leather on top is awesome for a keyboard and mouse. And the keyboard that I'm using is by a company called Satechi. I've been using the Satechi X1 Slim for years now, and it's my favorite slim keyboard by far. It follows the Apple aesthetic, it fits the same chiclet style keyboard, I love the color of it, it connects up to 3 different devices if you want to, so I can connect it to my MacBook, my iPad, and also my iPhone if I really want to, and it switches between them very, very easily. It charges via USB-C, and it just works great. I'm a big fan of using chiclet style keyboards without the number pad because I don't really ever use a number pad, and if I ever need to use numbers, I'll use a top row. So I love having this slim form factor for my keyboard. And then my mouse of choice is my Logitech Anywhere S2. You guys know I've had it for about 3-4 years now, and it works great. I know that the S3 already came out, but the only difference between the S2 and the S3 is that the S3 charges via USB-C and the S2 charges via micro USB. In my opinion, this Logitech Anywhere S2 or S3, it is the cheapest quality mouse that you'll ever find because it's heavy, so it feels quality in the hand, and it's also compact, so it fits in any pocket. It's not as big as like the MX Master that a lot of people love, and I don't really need the MX Master, but this also has hotkeys. You know, you can control the scroll wheel, you have buttons on the right and left hand side, and there is an app that goes along with it to use it. It works great with the iPad Pro or with any other device, and again, because it is a Logitech mouse, it connects to up to 3 different devices as well. And then one of the last things I do have is also by Satechi. It's over here. It is a 3-in-1 charger for Apple products. I'll leave it linked down in the description below alongside everything that I mentioned here, but it's very simple. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a 3-in-1 Apple charger, so you can charge your iPhone via MagSafe, you can charge your AirPods Pro or any AirPods that have wireless charging, and also charge your Apple Watch, which is always great to have. So that is a great little accessory, very quality, very sturdy, very heavy. It's not gonna go anywhere. It's great for your desk or for your nightstand. I absolutely love having it here. So that is by Satechi, and that's one of the newer editions actually. But that is pretty much my entire desk setup, everybody. This has been the way that I've been using my iPad Pro, and I use my iPad Pro for a lot of creative tasks like LumaFusion, thumbnail editing, answering stuff in YouTube Studio, and like everything is done on the iPad Pro. And then I also use Slack and things like that, Slack and email and Google Meets and things like that to be able to communicate with my team at all times. So in my opinion, the iPad Pro is a computer. It is a computer in its own right. Sure, there's some things that maybe your other computer can do that this iPad Pro can't do, but there's also a lot of things that the iPad Pro can do that a lot of computers can't do. Like now we're at the point where the iPad Pro not being a computer is an argument as like the Surface Pro not being a computer because it's a 2-in-1 and it flips into an actual tablet and things like that. So in my opinion, it's a computer. You guys sound off in the comments if you agree or disagree with me. There's still some things that need to get worked out, like the audio issue. I definitely think audio should be fixed and you should be able to default through the amazing iPad Pro speakers, and also being able to have 2 audio sources running at one time would be a great thing. But outside of that, it works great, everybody. Leave some comments down below of what you think about an iPad Pro desk setup. Are you guys ready for something like that, or are you guys still sticking with the classic, MacBook and then using an iPad as a supplemental device to your Mac experience? Let me know in the comments down below. But if you did make it to the end, leave a little dolphin in the comments down below so I know that you made it to the end. And if you guys want to watch more iPad, iOS, or macOS content, click on one of these videos right here. And until next time, I'm Fernando. I'm out of here. Peace.